consciously eating.
Alright folks, today I cast another Proleague game. This time we have Hero of Ages and RedDain, and they go at each other on my creation. Yeah, it's a very StarCraft 2 inspired map. Altitude L is the map in the ladder pool in StarCraft 2. Not sure if it's still in there, but yeah, was a map in a ladder pool in StarCraft 2. And yeah, I kind of took it as, so the basic layout of the map, I took it as an inspiration here. Yeah, and it's kind of, I think it's kind of unique with the way how it is arranged, because you have a choke from the highest terrain level there is in Little War Game, and you go down from it, and then you have a relatively safe second expansion with another choke, which is going down to the lowest level of terrain in Little War Game. And therefore you can, like RedDain is doing it here, you can kind of block this pathway, this second choke. And yeah, he's just doing it like I have intended it. So you can block it with, I think a catapult is able to go through and block all the way. With a Gatling gun you can kind of block it, but it's a bit tricky because you have to position it really good. And yeah, with Rex you just need 2 soldiers for this gap here. We see Heroes of Ages is doing none of this blocking. He's leaving it completely empty and free. There's a lot of space to go into, but of course the high ground is already an advantage you have. So he can just position his archers here and they will deal already damage while the enemy troops are approaching and going up here. Yeah, oh no, actually not. I wanted to say that both players going for raiders, but actually only RedDain is going for raiders. Hero of Ages is going straight into archers. Playing 1 archer here is kind of interesting. I think he wants to build a castle real quick. And RedDain is cutting workers. He's at 12 right now. Scouted a bit the area to see if there's cheese or anything fancy, but there isn't. Interesting. Okay, so we have 1 archer here, 1 worker who's building the castle, and the raider. I mean, the raider will re-shot the worker, and I think the archer are 4 hits, right? So let's see how that plays out. Okay, first hit on the archer, and RedDain is just leaving his raider there. And blinking away, not getting in the 4th hit. Interesting. So 2 archers here, and they just stand here and guard the place. And Hero of Ages pulled 4 workers, but a bit early. Now they standing there with their presents in their little hands. That looks kind of cute. And now he can start mining from 2 bases. And on the other side we have RedDain, who's also transitioning into archers. But he brought a second raider with him. But I think versus 3 archers and all these workers here, he will not be able to that much. But let's see how it works. Yeah, no. He needs to retreat. Alright. So he runs into a wall here and retreats for the moment. Yeah, and Mr. Hero of Ages is just going for more archers. Interestingly, I think he left space here. So a raider, like RedDain, could potentially get up here, move here, jump in, scout the area, and move out the same way. So he could jump in here and here. So it would be 1 jump in, 1 jump out, and then the second jump would be a bit tricky. So he needs to, I don't know, move around real smart. The other spot where you can jump is up here. It's a bit of a flaw of a map. or little war game in general, that you don't really have a border up here, and you can actually fly units up here, and you see only the shadow of the units. It's a bit jank, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay. This archer will most likely die. No, it will not die. Close call. And the other worker, interesting. Yes. Now Hero of Ages has 2 archers with very low HP. Yeah, and RedDain cannot get in. Interesting. Okay, and we see a 3rd base coming up. The 3rd base for RedDain is already up, but I think it's already known that RedDain is a guy who likes to expand a lot earlier and take a 3rd, especially in moments where he can, pressure the opponent and kinda contain him. Yeah, he lost one raider already, and now he lost the 2nd one. I think RedDain is just suiciding them to have more space for more archers. But right now he's on 3 archers only. Getting a catapult is, I think, the right call, because when Heroes Ages is pushing him, he will have the perfect answer, the perfect counter for the archer push. And as I say about it and talk about it, we already see it. We have 1 tower here, which is already okay-ish, I would say. But yeah, Hero of Ages cannot really get stuff done here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he needs to move in. Oh yeah, okay. First archer death. And yeah, the catapult is a great one. RedDain is cutting workers for some reason. I don't know at how many he is. Okay, at 23. But he usually, or ideally, you want to be at 30 at this point. And yeah, he stopped producing workers, unfortunately. And he gets more production, and I guess way more production. So 1, 2, 3, 4 racks and 1 workshop. Alright, so I guess he will stay on 3 bases and just pump out units. On the other side we see 3 racks for Hero of Ages, who is already at 43 supply. So 10 supply, roughly 10 supply ahead. Oh, and we see an armory. Alright. So the armory, I think, gives the range upgrade or something for archers. Okay, and Hero of Ages is scouting everything. So we see no dragons, no fancy stuff, no transition into heavy mech stuff with a lot of catapults or something, or beast transition into werewolves or whatever. Oh, and RedDain actually has a nice scout here with the archer, so he knows the army now is approaching from the left side of the map. Actually, there are these upper hill kind of things where you can just position any melee unit, and it will have actually a bit of vision you can use. At least that was my intending. So far I've seen nobody use it. I guess because it's not covering everything. And yeah, now we see the big fight going on, or the big push. Yeah, 1 catapult up here is nice, but he's damaging his own workers. That's not very good. You want to not do that, of course. But you can actually trick your opponent in killing his own workers. Works like you rely on your opponent to A-click with the workers, and if he does, you can just move your units at the right timing when you see the catapult shot is flying, and just move them a bit, and the workers will, because they are with A-click moved into, chase your units. And the moment they do that, the catapult shots will deal damage to the workers who are following your units. So a nice little trick here. I think if you are a master at micro, like on AC level or above, you can do that intentionally and exploit kind of by your opponent. Okay, so what we do? Oh, yeah. Okay, we see the soldier drop with a catapult with the airship. That's actually quite strong, because yeah, they just wreck your They just wreck your... Oh, he has already an airship with soldiers loaded at the base. And you see all these workers are already damaged. And he can just put down these 5 soldiers. And they will deal a lot of damage, actually. First soldier killed. I'm not too sure if he killed more than the soldiers. Yeah, actually he killed 3 workers as well. 2 archers already dead. And 1 soldier right just here. So interesting. Hero of Age is really pulling the tricks here. And RedDain is kinda surprised by it, I think. Okay, here we see the range upgrade. So the archers will have the superiority in archer versus archer fights. And also with the catapults added, I think RedDain will be able to shut down every archer play from Hero of Ages. But I think the soldiers are a problem. Or, yeah, not a problem, but kinda a problem in the fights. Because they can just move in. And I like to take just 2 soldiers and click them on 1 catapult. And you do that with all your soldiers and all the catapults of the enemy. And usually then you just need to move around your units a bit to dodge the catapult shots. And yeah, your soldiers usually force your enemy or your opponent to move his catapults. And the moment they move, they don't deal damage. So that's the whole idea behind it. So he can just let the catapults stay there, of course. But he can, then he loses them. Because you see, in Rex versus Mech, oftentimes players don't bring workers to the party to repair. Which is, I think, a mistake, but it's a common thing. So maybe it's inefficient and I just don't know the logic behind it. Okay, and here we see it. 130 supply versus 100 supply. But we have a tower and we have a lot of catapults. Okay. Ah, nice. RedDain positioning 1 archer up here. Very good. Very good. Okay, and 4th base. RedDain tried to take a 4th base. Didn't really work though. And yeah, now we see it. Final big fight. And Hero of Ages just dropping these soldiers behind. There's also a way to play this. Just flying in with airships, dropping these soldiers, and just overwhelm your enemy, so to say. But I think RedDain is doing a great job of splitting his army. But there are so many catapults and archers still left. Will be very hard to hold this, I think. But up here, Hero of Ages has no vision. So he can only fire into the shadows, so to say. Maybe I can show that. Yeah, you see? Like, he has no vision. He needs the airship to give him vision. So he will not see if there's a catapult. So RedDain could just put 1 catapult here, 2 workers behind it to repair. Okay, and RedDain is kind of struggling, I guess. Yeah, the airship is pretty nice now because it gives vision, as I just pointed out. But yeah, the position of the catapults is nice. They just fire, and you see the auto repair workers, as I already told you. And yeah, now RedDain comes from the side with his raiders, with his archers, and 1 catapult. And it looks like he's able to fight off this oncoming push. Okay, he killed an airship, which is very nice because it gives no vision anymore. Which is pretty awesome. And yeah, Hero of Ages needs to move up here, but I think moving up there is maybe not the right idea. And yeah, this catapult position, I like it really very much. And yeah, nice micro by RedDain with the archers. And I think he holds it. 100 supply versus 130 it was. And now we have 67 supply versus 95. So both players lost equal amount. So the trades are really in favor of RedDain, honestly. He's still behind, of course. And I think Hero of Ages will take another base. But nice job by RedDain. Again, he just positions a soldier here and is a bit annoying. Very good. And RedDain just moving into to stand right in between these catapults. So nice way of thinking here. And I think, yeah, 70 supply versus 70 now. No, 70 versus 60. So, man, great job by RedDain. He really fought off this push. Very, very, very well played. Didn't expect him to hold this, honestly. And yeah, now he needs to stabilize. We see 27 archers lost and 27 soldiers lost for Hero of Ages. So really well played here. But again, Hero of Ages is of course ahead. 40 workers, like insane production difference right now, I imagine. Where's the income? Here's the income. So actually not that much, but yeah, it's 1,000 to 2,000 different. Kind of that part. So it's not that much of a difference. I thought it's higher. But also RedDain is producing workers right now. And also RedDain is working on his 4th. So he's maybe able to snatch that win. He needs to play his position from behind. And yeah, I think he... Yeah, I like that. He's abusing these little spots on the map, which is very great. Doesn't give you vision all about. I think that's too strong. But having vision here to see everything flying or even moving here is a great one. And also the position of this archer is great, I think. Yeah, 30 to 44 right now in worker count. We see he's a bit of he's a bit lagging. RedDain is a bit lagging in supply and production. Okay, another drop with the soldiers. Let's see how much supply or army RedDain will use. Apparently he will use only 3 soldiers to fight 5. Interesting choice. But the tower is also dealing damage, right? Okay, he brings 2 more archers and also fights with the workers. And actually he killed the forge, I think. Which is a bit of a problem for RedDain because he really wants to... Yeah, he's building a new one, but he really wants to... Yeah, get upgrades. And on the other side we see 130 supply for Hero of Ages. Again, with his airships, he's preparing to drop, I think. Another round of soldiers. Yeah, the archer deals a bit of damage. It's okay. 3 airships is kind of scary. But I'm not too sure how RedDain should put together his army now. Because, I mean, he gets more production, okay, but should he get more soldiers? Like he's doing right now? Is that the right idea? And then keep the soldiers around his catapults? I think, honestly, that he needs an airship to just pick up his own catapults in the moment when Hero of Ages is flying in the soldiers. To drop them onto the catapults from RedDain. RedDain is supposed to pick his catapults up and put them in another place. And so they will play, while they're fighting, they will play Ring Around the Rosie. And I think that's how you want to kind of counter what Hero of Ages is doing. Okay, 3 airships. Only one of them is loaded. Interesting. Okay. And I think a nice position, a nice choke here for RedDain with the fewer supply. He's behind 30 supply. He should really fight in this position, but I'm not too sure because there are a lot of catapults for Hero of Ages. And RedDain is kind of heavy on archers. And yeah, these catapults are insanely good. They fire like crazy. Okay, and now we see. Yeah, there's. Yeah, this one move in from RedDain lost him all his soldiers, and now he needs to reproduce the archers. The soldiers, and RedDain cannot really engage. There are too many catapults, and they deal an insane amount of damage though. I mean, RedDain has his own catapults here, but they cannot really engage because they lack vision. And on the other side, Hero of Ages can fly with his airships around and give vision to his units. Nice job moving in with this with the melee units, but they don't deal that much damage. So yeah, I think the catapults here making the difference. And RedDain, maybe RedDain should have done the same. just get soldiers, load them in, and then fly them in to drop them onto the catapults from Hero of Ages. But I think that just shows the inexperience or the difference in experience of these players, because RedDain is pretty new to the game. So Hero of Ages was the favorite, because Hero of Ages is already a very long time player. But for that, I mean, playing it not the right way, I would say, or not the optimal way, maybe. He put on a very good display and a very good fight from RedDain, but the favorite wins once again.